up, Neil?
Hi, my name's Neil, and you're Adam.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Don't Shit on the Bus. Today is our celebration of the end of season 2, or the end of the next, not really a season, just the 12 episodes we did in a chunk.
Yes.
And yeah.
We work hard.
We did it.
We did it.
But yeah, we got the questions from the Discord community. So thank you if you signed up on our Patreon and contributed to this. If you want to be part of it, go for it. And that leads us to our favorite part, Neil. Your favorite part.
Patreon. I don't know how to see it because I can't click it into the thing, or if I do, it'll come on the...
I'm going to say the names, then you just repeat them after me.
Okay,
ready?
let's go.
We've got Dennis.
I love Dennis.
We've got Riley.
Oh, yeah, Riley, of course.
We got Natalie, my girlfriend.
Natalie, thank you so much.
We got Pat.
Pat, you are the person.
Vanessa.
Vanessa, hi. How are you?
And then Robert.
Robert, you know, I am guessing this is Robert Lane.
It is. Wait, who is Robert Lane?
He is a good friend of mine. He actually grew up in a small town not too far from me, and he's now a doctor. Okay, so we are listened to by very smart people, which means we are great at what we do.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're a doctor and you're out there and you're listening, thank you for contributing to the overall smartness of us. Thank you.
Yeah, what Neil said. I appreciate you too. But yeah, thank you guys for signing up, supporting us. We appreciate it. That's why we got to say the names on the podcast.
Everyone's like, oh my gosh, Neil, you know, your ears, they're see-through. I'm like, guys, I can't change the color of the in-ears. They're green.
Neil, did you just checking? Are you recording?
Yes, Adam, come on.
I got to check. I'm recording too. That means we're ready to go.
I've been recording for 20 minutes.
I've been recording for 19 minutes and I've been recording for 20 minutes too.
We're great. We really
Yeah,
are.
we're doing it. All right. We've done this 22 times. This is our 23rd episode. I'm going to start you off with a question, Neil. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. This question comes from none other than EliseMarie.jpg.
Sick name.
It's a little bit of a... They're actually all pretty long because there's, you know, we got good questions.
She should become an NFT. She'd be worth crazy amounts of money.
Oh, man, yeah.
She's .jpg.
And you have to give Neil 5% of your 10%.
Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. I think my biggest question is advice about jumping from a 9-to-5 full-time job to touring full-time. I'm assuming it's probably a leap of faith many people take. I do like my job now as it offers stability, whereas if I were just getting into touring, I'm curious if it's hard to make touring a full-time gig in the beginning or if it's a balance of jobs until touring jobs become more frequent. So what do you think, Neil? Maybe you can talk about your band, I guess.
Well, it's kind of hard right now just because we're coming out of a pandemic and nothing is really certain, right? So it may seem more like a leap of faith now, even more so than before, which is probably true. But my thing is, you know, as shows start to happen again, I think it's really important to kind of reach out, you know, offer those things and kind of take opportunities where they present themselves. Because obviously you don't know when and how it's going to be moving forward. We don't know if we're going to go right into touring full time. I don't think anyone has that plan. You know, I don't think that anyone has real dates on when touring is going to come back. So if you have opportunities to take advantage of to kind of make some money or to learn, do that. But I think kind of making it a full-time job right out the gate might be a little tough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's hard. I think like the biggest concept we discussed is how much it revolves around your network and how long it takes to organically establish that. So having a job going in the meantime is great as long as it doesn't get in the way of your efforts to a level where it's just it's like if your job is the thing that's making it so you can't go on tour, then maybe you need to adjust your time and how much you're putting towards each thing. Mm-hmm. But if it's allowing you to live a life while you kind of go to concerts and meet people and get coffee with people, then that's great. You know, I think that slow, steady kind of vibe is a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Okay, so I will read the next question to you, Adam.
All right, let's do it.
So this one comes from Awiland, I think.
Alex. His name is Alex. This person's name is Alex, I think.
Okay. Well, Alex, thank you for writing the question. It means a lot. We couldn't do a Q&A without you, literally. Okay, so here's a question. So this might seem like a simple question, but I'm curious, is there alarm clock etiquette for the bus? Obviously, you don't want to be obnoxious with alarms and wake up the whole bus, but I'm curious if there's any kind of general etiquette or advice you have for people that like to wake up early so they're not waking up the whole bus when they do?
Well, this is probably a good question for me to answer because it depends. You know, who are you on the bus with is a good first question. I'm usually riding with Neil, and I'm also the first one up, and I don't want to make the band mad. So I don't know if I wake up to alarm. I might have it on vibrate.
The crazy thing is I get anxiety every time I set an alarm. Like if we get to a place early and I want to go explore somewhere by myself, or I want to go see something that's like requires a little bit more time than I usually would allot myself, just waking up at like right before sound check, which could be like 3:00. I try to like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like if everyone is waking up around a similar time, an alarm clock going off is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I think that if it's an obnoxious amount of time early, like if you're like, we get
4
there
a.m.
at 9 a.m. and you set it for 4:30 in the morning, like, you know,
Put it on vibrate.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think someone in chat said like get a vibrating watch or something like that, that might help you kind of wake up naturally or a little bit easier without that really allowing. And there's ways to kind of have an alarm that's not super fucking annoying, right? Like it doesn't, I mean, maybe some people are rough sleepers, but your body starts to get used to that. You start to wake up, you start to get used to kind of having this internal clock where you wake up, and if you hear a noise and you know that you're going to have an alarm going and it's not super loud, you just kind of wake up. It just starts to happen that way when you're on tour a lot. And especially if you're kind of starting that schedule. So like if you know you're going to be waking up at a certain time every day, which is like maybe 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it is, when you're on tour, your body starts to get used to that and your internal clock will kind of like alert you to that. And so you won't really have to use an obnoxious alarm to wake up, I don't think.
Yeah, and you're usually paired with people who are doing similar jobs to you. So the crew bus is all crew, and they're all waking up around a similar time. So like Neil was saying, unless you're waking up like a few hours earlier than everybody else, then you don't really have to be concerned. And if somebody doesn't wake up to their alarm or something like that, usually crew is pretty like, they'll help each other out. They'll be like, hey, Johnny, we got to go load in. Come on. I know you had a fun night last night. Maybe you drank a little more than you usually do. So we might have to help Johnny out today. And, but it just depends. If you're a photographer with the band, then yeah, be mindful that they're probably waking up a lot later than you are. And you don't want to be the one ruining their day. So teamwork, baby.
Yes.
All right. Next question.
Next.
This one is from Amelia. What's a random thing you never thought to bring on tour that's now a necessity? And on the flip side, something you regret bringing?
What's a random thing you never thought to bring on tour
That's
now
a funny
necessity? Or on the flip side, something you regret bringing?
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like maybe it's not specifically you and your band, but you guys have brought, because you're in the band, like some pretty wild things on tour.
Oh, yeah.
Like motorcycles.
Yeah, we brought like dirt bikes one tour. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, I found when having that random transportation around like cities that you don't really know, and like you can like kind of get further than like walking quickly. That's pretty cool.
Before scooters, right?
Yeah, we do scooters now, which I think. I mean, obviously we haven't been on tour in a year, but we have like those scooters that you pay for, but they're like ours. We like bought them from Walmart.com or some shit like that. We brought them from Crackle. This stream is brought to you by Crackle. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's a necessity for you, Adam? You travel so minimally.
Yeah, I know. I have very low key because it stresses me out. But I'll tell you, Neil, when I first started touring, I actually, as a photographer, wasn't like a lifestyle photographer. What I would do is I would go on tour and just do photo shoots. And that was like when we first met. Remember, we just did photo shoots?
Yep.
So all I would do was come on. I wouldn't even shoot the concert. I would just hang out and watch the show and hang out all day. Because people didn't use those photos for anything. And I didn't like doing it. I was like, I wasn't emotionally connected to my images. I was like, I'm here to make money and take pictures of bands standing in place. So I used to carry around a hard golf case that was taller, like as tall as me, and this big Pelican, and then a 30-pound battery to power my lights. And I used to wear like cutoff black t-shirts, have snake bites, slip on Vans and basketball shorts. And I just picture myself getting on like the New Jersey Transit and getting a cab in New York and getting dropped off by the Greyhound and all the ways I used to travel. And I looked like that. And I always had those cases, and people just must have been like, the fuck?
This scene kid really likes golfing and needs to power something
And it was like
very
bright
powerful.
orange. Yeah, it was like, I have photos of it. It was a disaster. But I did get stronger.
You know, what doesn't kill you, right? Like you probably learned really fast, like because I think that's what like made me know what I needed and didn't need.
Yeah.
Like we did like this Asian tour. It was like the Pan Asian Islands, and it was a ton of traveling. Like I think we had like I think there was like maybe 15 flights on that tour, which was a lot for us.
Wow. Not for
and
anybody.
I remember having like a camera bag. I'm like, I'm gonna have a 5D Mark II with 4 lenses. Cause why? What the fuck did I need that for? And it's like I had that, and I had like a fucking like my backpack, and then I had like an entire recording setup in like a fucking another bag that I would all carry on me, and I didn't want to like check them under the plane. Then I would have like 2 full suitcases filled with like clothes and shit, and I'm just like, I don't need this. There was like the 3rd flight in, I'm like, I'm leaving half this shit somewhere in Thailand or something.
God. Doing laundry on the road sometimes is more expensive than buying new clothes.
I mean, to be honest, I would start the tour with like a half empty suitcase and just know that I'm going to buy more clothes because I'm not washing them.
You're a good shopper.
Man, when it comes to buying stuff, I can fucking do it. That's for sure.
As far as like the necessity thing I have to bring on tour, I would say for me, it's just make sure that everything I'm bringing, I use every day. There's very few things I bring. And if you can buy something on tour, like maybe don't pack it. Like I'll buy shaving cream as I go, or I'll get new razor blades. Like I don't need to pack 10 razor blades day one. Like you can pick stuff up as you go. I used to just buy shirts and throw them away. Sorry, keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like thinking about that toiletry, like you don't have to pack for like 6 weeks, right? Like you pack for your immediate necessity. And I think that that's like something that like a lot of people that are new to traveling like this, you have a bus, right? You have a place to kind of put your backpack and your stuff, and you can kind of set up a little area to where you don't need to have 6 months worth of stuff like in a suitcase with you at all times. You're like, well, I'm going to need 6 tubes of toothpaste because I use it a lot. It's like, like Adam said, you can make sure you can get a runner to go out and grab some toothpaste for you and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've like overpacked like every tour I've ever been on. And then I use the things I packed where I'm like, we brought a fucking motorcycle on one tour. Like me and Kevin brought our motorcycles on the Blink tour. And then we bought an entire weight setup on the Blink tour, and we would set it up outside of the back of a bus. And I think we used it like 15 times. Zach from All Time Low used it every single day.
Yeah, it's probably Zach.
Yeah. He did.
I remember Travis for his dressing room in UK would have a treadmill just roll out of the semi truck. I'd be like, but we're in Europe.
He's got a fucking
have a treadmill.
Yeah, it rains a lot there, so he just ran inside.
So crazy.
It is. Right. It is pretty crazy. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of really good information in there. Okay, so here's the
five.
Here is question 5, and it's from Melissa. Something that I have been looking around for, but I haven't seen a lot of, is packing list. If people that have been on tour provide a list of what they pack, how much shampoo, soap, other products they bring, how many bags, the size of the bags, things they brought the first time they ended up just being a waste of valuable luggage space, things they didn't bring the first time that they made sure to bring every subsequent time because it was so helpful, little secrets to make your day go smoother. So this is basically, we're just going to continue to elaborate on the last question because I think we kind of started talking about it a little bit, but I think we can kind of elaborate a little bit more too. You don't really need that much, for you, like, all right, for you, Adam, I know that you are kind of a unique situation because you're a photographer. You like to keep all of your gear on you at all times, right?
Yes.
And you travel very minimally, right? You don't think so? Like,
no,
so
I agree.
like in your opinion, like what is like kind of a normal amount of bags that like let's say a crew person would bring?
Yeah, there's an important stipulation here, and that is that Neil is in a band and I am crew, and there's a big difference on what we're allotted and how we travel. So our answers are going to be very different, and it's just important you know those things because Neil can't travel like a crew member and I can't travel like a band member. They're different jobs. They require different tools, and our tools we bring with us. But yeah, I bring a bag. on my back, usually a backpack, and that carries most of my gear. And then I have a carry-on bag, like a handbag that I have all my clothes in. And sometimes those will swap depending on how much gear I have and how many clothes I have. So if I'm bringing more gear, that'll turn into my handbag, and the clothes will turn into my backpack. And I literally bring one pair of pants, a few pairs of underwear, 2 shirts, and a few toiletries. Like I'm talking like barely anything. And then camera gear. And I have mostly I bring bags so that I can pack different bags for different parts of the trip. Like I need a small bag for when I go on a hike, and I need a waterproof covering for when we're in the rain, and I need a bag for when I'm shooting a live show. So a lot of my bags just have other bags inside of them. That was a long answer, but
well, no, I think that it is a huge thing. I mean, I know with my experience, like we have crew members that literally could do an entire tour out of a carry-on and a backpack. They like travel super minimally. And then there's other tour members that are crew members or tour members in general, whether they're in the band or they're on the crew. They travel with one roller bag, one carry-on bag, and then a backpack. I think you can pretty much get an entire tour's worth of clothes, toiletries, any kind of personal items that you need to bring in that amount of stuff. So like a carry-on, an actual check bag size, and then a backpack. You know, you keep your laptop and everything and your toiletries in your backpack, and then you kind of keep your clothes and everything else accordingly, shoes and whatnot, in the different size bag.
And like Neil was saying earlier, how you're traveling and where you're traveling really dictates what you can bring. If you're flying out to a bus tour and then you're living on a bus, you can bring a little more stuff than if you're taking 15 flights in Asia. You know, like it's just right tools for the right jobs. And this is personal items. For a photographer, it's a little different. You do travel with all your gear, but guitar tech and such, they probably have a road case that stores most of their tools and all that stuff. Right. So you don't have to put your guitar teching tools under your bunk or anything.
Yeah. Okay. So how many times did we say bags in that last 5-minute section?
I said a bag.
I'm kind of 44 times. Okay. So, this is from Eva.
There we go. Yeah.
So this is question 5.
Sorry, go.
I'm gonna read it because I like reading these. This is like I'm like, hey, call on me so I can read in class. You know. All right. I appreciate that you guys are taking your time and to answer our question. It really helps. So I want to know about the pre-tour process. Does the whole crew meet up before the tour starts to make plans and prepare, maybe rehearse it, or do they just meet up in front of the bus when it's time to come and hit the road? Maybe we can do this in a couple different parts. So,
oh yeah, there's a few questions in there.
Yeah. So to make sure that this question is answered, there's definitely pre-production. And most of the tour will meet up for rehearsals, which is the tour pre-production. If it's not necessary for you to be there, then obviously you're not going to be there. There's certain like, more advanced tech, like the set carp for the thing is not going to be at the band rehearsal or the pre-production, right?
It'll be their core crew is what we kind of refer to it as, like the first 12 jobs we went over. So like the backline techs and the people that are with the band almost all the time.
Yes, exactly. And then, so whenever we do that, you're kind of like practicing in a place, like maybe it's like for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, where it's just the band, just the core crew. You're working together to kind of iron out the set list, how certain things are going to be. And then there's maybe like 1 or 2 days right before the tour starts where you actually go and set up the tour production. You get the actual amps and the actual
house on stage.
Yeah, if you're going to have a house on stage, you go to a venue and you set up the house on the stage. That's where everybody's there. You run the show like you would have the show. There's just no people in there. Mm-hmm. And so you do that for maybe 1 or 2 days. It's very, very expensive to do that. So you try to do it like you try to do as much work as you can in that limited amount of time. You run the set like literally probably 10 times in 2 days. And it's fun, you know, like that's the time that you really get to iron out those things, and it can be stressful. Obviously, you're trying to get an entire crew to work. Like you have to do this dance, right? Like everyone has to be flowing and doing these things at the right times to make sure that the visuals are happening and the lights are happening and then the audio is working, and then everything is like that's been practiced up until this point. You're doing it at the same time. Adam's taking pictures. We look majestic. We're like unicorns up there.
My favorite time ever
is pre-production.
Yeah, because actually we've done like pre-production for big shows or something, and they'll do like a full dress rehearsal run through with pyro and everything. I'm like, I just get to shoot live photos that nobody will ever know weren't at the concert, but I get to be anywhere in the venue. So I could be like smack dab where like people are usually standing, but shooting with like a 300 millimeter lens, like getting perfect shots. I'm like, this is great. This is cheating.
I never even thought about that. That's pretty cool. Well, like that's the time that you really got to get all of the kinks out, right? Like that's the time you ask the questions. That's the time you're doing all these different things.
You're practicing.
To make sure that when you go live, when you're doing it for the first time for real, everything is right. You know, you want to make sure that show 1 is just as good as show 45 if you can. You know, that's the goal. And so that's the time to do that. But yeah, so it also depends on like what your job is when you kind of meet up. Like some people meet up that 2 days before the tour starts, and then other days are working for like 2 weeks before the tour starts. And then if you're a tour manager, you're working for like a month and a half, probably advancing an entire tour, figuring out all the different things that need to be figured out. But if you're a tour manager, you already know that. So yeah. All right. So what's the next?
That was a good way of saying it. Basically, everybody hangs out beforehand, so there's no surprises during the show, so that all the people who come can be not noticing crazy things happen. There's still stuff they got to work out with the tour goes, but I think Neil covered it really well. You want me to read this next one, or you want to do it?
Well, here, there's more in this one question. I mean,
okay. Let me read it. So I want to know about the pre-tour process. Does the whole crew meet up before the tour start, make plans, or maybe rehearse, or maybe they just meet up in front of the bus? Yeah, whatever it is, the tour manager, the production manager, and the management will let you know. You're never going to have to like come up with it, but expect, and you're paid for those days. Like it's not, you show up, you get a hotel, you paid for these days, you're practicing. It's just, there's time to get everything right. Maybe on small like van tours, you probably just show up and go for it though.
Yeah. We're talking like bus size. I think it does depend on like what level of touring it is for sure. It's like some people, you don't rent out a venue and like put up your production. You just show up to the first show. Maybe you're an opening band, on a larger tour. Like you just show up on time, set your stuff up. Hopefully you practiced before you left wherever it is, or maybe you had shows on the way to start the tour or whatever that is. And then you show up and do your thing, you know. I mean, it can be any couple of different ways. Yes. So the other part of the question was, how do you communicate during the tour when not everyone is at the same place at the same time and some things need to be done? Does the crew have a group chat or something like that?
Walkie-talkies, baby.
Walkie motherfucking talkies. They're sick.
Every day, people are on walkie-talkies, and if you need help with anything, they're on a channel, and you get to talk to them and tell them where to be, and you work together.
Well, there's like also like multiple channels too. So like one is like for core crew, right? Like you can call backline techs, all that, like on channel 1, for example. Channel 2 is like tour managers and production and stuff like that. Channel 3 is like the oh shit channel. I don't fucking know what. I just get on there and talk shit sometimes. I'm not supposed to.
This. I don't ever get a walkie, as Flyzik said in our last episode, because I'm a photographer and I'd probably ruin it and lose it. But you go like this and you press a button, you go, Adam for Neil. And then Neil will be like, go for Adam. Or go for Neil. And then, yeah.
Go Adam.
All right, last question of this part. Yeah, so that's how it is. There's no group chat. There's not like a team Slack for touring usually or anything.
Well, maybe there is. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in the future, like you kind of have, they probably have both. I think that if you need something immediately, it's through the walkie-talkies. And if like, you know, whenever the walkie-talkies aren't out, like if you're not at a show, you don't carry around your walkie-talkie. Like
at home.
Yeah, like if you're on an off day and you're like at like TGI Fridays, you don't just have like your walkie-talkie, which would be pretty badass, but
you know, now that I think that there's probably like a Slack and emails going back and forth for like the office crew.
Dude,
we got to ask the next time we have a guest on that does this stuff, because we're both out of the loop on this one. But they communicate all day. Yeah, those people that make the show happen.
Adam, I have the next part of I'm going to read this to you because it's to you.
My name is in it, at Elmakias. That's my name.
As a photographer, Adam, join the band's rehearsals before touring to get an idea what they are going to do on stage and how the lighting will be like. Do you join us before? Yeah, you do. You're there every time.
If the band wants me there, I'll be there. I love to be at personal things or exclusive things because you get a lot of unique shots, get to know the artist. Sometimes, like, for example, I went to 21 Pilots did like rehearsals in London before their like release of Trench, and I went with them for 2 days and just shot rehearsals, and it was great because I could take notes of when everything was happening during the show, because when the show happens, they want these shots captured. And I could be like, okay, on the third song at 50 seconds, I know he's going to do a backflip over the fire onto
He's
the
talking
car.
about me, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Neil.
wait. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I could get that photo and it's good. So sometimes artists don't want you there though. And that's okay too. I don't take it personally. I just try to always remind people that just because I take the photo doesn't mean it has to go online. Let's just capture what's happening.
Yeah. Because it's always, you can't go back and you can't like go back and do it once you decided not to. I would just always be capturing that stuff. And there's definitely privacy things set up, right? Like there's like definitely filters that like Adam's like, do you want me to post this? There's nothing online of you while you're doing rehearsals. How do you guys feel about this? Like he's not going to go and just, throw shit up there. But yeah, I think you should definitely always be there because I like hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
you,
the next question comes from Kiss Smith Media. KL Smith Media.
Yeah, that's Kirsten.
Okay.
Remember her?
Yes.
You had a hard time saying her name that one time.
I always do. Kirsten. Kristen.
She hit me up. She texted me and goes, did Neil really get my name right the first time on that podcast? And I was like, no, it took us 5, but he did good.
Hey, look, okay.
The I and the R look
like, no, it's just reading. Reading's hard, It's hard for me. All right, so the next one is, how early do you start packing for tour and what all goes in your gear case? This is funny to me because I literally start like about 8 hours before the flight's supposed to take off.
When you get the alert to check in.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I got to pack. I'm like, I got to do laundry. Oh, man, I got to bring an entire fucking wardrobe worth of clothes.
Well, we kind of already answered this one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kirsten.
Well, we kind of, I mean, that's the truth, though. It just depends on the person, right? If you're like super, if you're not a procrastinator like me, you probably start like a week getting laundry done, getting all the stuff you need from like Walgreens or whatever, and then putting it together slowly. And then whenever it's time to go, you just walk out the door and you're happy. Or if you're like me, you wait literally until 30 seconds before you have to leave. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't go to Walgreens. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go when I'm on tour. And yeah, that's how it works. So
Neil, I have a routine I want to share.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
All right. My leaving home routine for tour greatly depended on how consistent I was touring. So like if I was only home for a week, I would usually wait till the last day to get ready. But if I'd been home for a few weeks, then I would start planning a little bit ahead of time because it's a lot easier. But for me, the most important things are to pack everything. I lay it all out and I make sure I have it all. Then I pack it up and I do it very slowly to make sure everything fits. And then I test it, I wear it, I do all that jazz. And then I clean my whole place. I make sure my place is spotless, do the sheets on the bed, do the laundry. And then I write myself a note for when I get home. Because touring, as you know, Neil, is really exhausting. And when you get home, it feels so good. And you want to make sure to not fall into like lonely habits. So like maybe you just like watch TV all day, or maybe you just drink alone or something. You don't want to fall into that when you get home. So I try to set myself up for coming home to a very fresh, welcoming place. And I often will write myself a note that's like, hey, welcome home. Remember to go get yourself some good food. Take a few days off to decompress and adjust and get out of the really upbeat pace of touring. And I don't know, I like that. So that's kind of how I roll.
If I wrote myself a message, I would come home and be like, fuck you, Past Neil. I'm going to kick your ass if I fucking see you. Take a few days off, you asshole, and I would fight you.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, where's Postmates? I need some McDonald's nuggies here immediately.
Some guy keeps writing notes to me while I'm gone.
I forget. It's like Memento. You just like totally forget that you did it. You come home, there's like notes everywhere. You're like, oh, fuck. There's someone's been here.
Oh, man. Yeah, but
Mary like finds a note like 3 days after I leave. She's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, she's like, oh, what? My husband is going
Throws
crazy.
it away. It says you're going to fight your future self, Neil. I found a note. It said, fuck you, future Neil. Here's a coupon for some McDonald's. And then it said, have fun on tour. It's crazy. I think that's a great idea, Adam. I'm like making a joke, but like seriously, like having the forethought to like think about that in the future and come home to a clean house is probably an amazing way to kind of get back into real life after tour,
Dude, I'm actually going home tomorrow for the first time in almost 3 weeks, which is crazy. And before I left, I cleaned everything. I did everything. And I'm so much more excited to go back because it's like going into a fresh hotel room.
Yeah.
Except mine's
badass.
actually clean. It doesn't just smell clean.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like there's not been people rubbing their genitals all over everything in here while I was gone.
Your genitals.
Or maybe there was. I mean, do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is that how this works? I'm going to
Yo,
butt everyone in line real quick. Hold on. Do you rub your genitals on hotel room stuff when you're on?
I have a good, if you ever go on tour and you get a hotel room, I always get 2 beds. One bed I sleep in, and the other bed I dry off in after I shower.
What do you just roll around in it nude?
Yeah, I get out. I go right in bed. It's my towel. And then I go in the other bed. It's great.
That's sick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't bash it till you try it and tell me there's never been a better use of 2 beds in a bedroom.
No, I mean, I get hyped when there is 2 beds and it's not like one king bed. There's like 2 double beds. I'm like, all right, this is my food bed where I want to eat food in and get like, like chips and like fucking crumbs and shit. And then I get out of that bed when I'm like, all right, I'm done eating now. And then I go and sleep in the clean one.
Yeah. I actually got really into the feeling of having like a warm bed after I showered and going under the covers, that sometimes I'd take it to another level where I'd actually sit on the side of the bed, pick the blanket up, pull it over my head and my feet so it was all like warm and steamy, and then meditate in it.
Okay. It's like a little...
This is the most personal I've ever done.
A bed cocoon.
Yeah.
A little cocoon, but with your bed.
Yeah. I freaked my friend out once when I was at a Magic tournament. We shared hotel rooms, and he woke up and he's like, Adam,
there's a ghost.
What are you doing? And I was like, I'm meditating. He was like, oh, of course.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, shit. Okay. Yep. I'm the idiot. It's like
traveling. So traveling rules apply. You know?
You're like, oh yeah, you're meditating. Yeah. Fuck me.
Look, I got to set myself up for success here, you know?
Dude, okay. Do you do this? Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, dude. This is a Q&A episode.
When you get in a hotel bed, how the fuck do they tuck it so goddamn tight?
Oh my God. Feet ripping out the bottom of the tucked in bed right away. I want the blanket between my legs, under my, like, I want every part of my body comfortable. I don't want to be like, I feel like, what's it like in a movie where somebody's like saran wrapped to a pole or something? You know what I'm talking about? Like they're pranking the kid in high school and he's just on the wall with duct tape. That's what I'm like in the bed. I'm like, nope.
Dude, it's like I've fallen asleep. Like I've gone back to my hotel room drunk and then just like got in there before. And I like had ankle issues the next day because it was so tight that I couldn't like, my foot was like, instead of being able to like be up, you know, like on my leg, it was just like shoved down at like some weird fucking angle. Like, you know, and I'm just like, I like wake up and I'm like, fuck, you know, like my tendons or what, I don't know. And like you try to like walk and you fall.
It's like nighttime stretching.
It sucks so bad. And then like I always rip the fucking covers out. Just like heads up, like stop doing that, please, God. Hotels. All right. If you're a psychopath. If you're a narc, you're a narc and a psychopath. If you sleep with the covers still tucked super tight. I don't trust
people who wear shower shoes and sleep with the covers. Oh, Neil, I've got a shower shoes question for you.
Okay.
I posted on my Facebook today, like, you know, shower shoes, no shower shoes, trying to get a vibe from my friends.
Okay.
You and I are not shower shoes. We're pretty adamant about that. We think anybody who wears shower shoes is a loser and deserves to not to wear. We can both agree on that.
I don't think that.
I'm just kidding. I was kidding. I'm just
kidding. I do think that for sure. Are you kidding me? Fuck them. Look. Just kidding. No, I don't feel that way. But you know, if you do wear shower shoes, that's weird. So
yeah. But shower shoes on the way to the shower, I'm okay with.
Fuck yeah. That's gross.
Wear them, flip flop over the bathroom floor, flip flop off, get it in the shower.
It's like when you go eat out at a restaurant, you know, you have to wear a mask. Like you wear a mask to the table and then you just take it off to eat. And then you sit there without your mask and then you put it back on to leave. It's just like shower shoes.
Yes. Exactly.
Except in, you know, when you're showering, this is what Mark Hoppus told us to do this. You wear shower shoes to the shower and then you pee in it and then you get in and it's completely clean.
He also told us right after telling us to do that, not to do that.
Well, Madonna does it.
Yeah.
So, and
she makes a lot of money. So obviously you need to listen to her.
Yeah, it's right. She's like, she kissed Britney Spears on stage at the VMAs. So clearly, yeah, All right. Anyways, so shower shoes, no. Anyway, okay, here we go.
I said a no to the shower.
I mean, here's the thing. If you want to fucking wear shower shoes, like if you're going to wear them to the shower, it's not like we're in the fucking bathroom with you when you get in the shower. No one's like judging. If you want to wear them in there, no one will fucking know. Like no one should know unless.
I'm not even going to make a joke about knowing because that'd be creepy.
Yeah, exactly. No one should know if you're wearing them in there or not. It's up to you. Just do it if you want. Don't talk about it. Anyways, all right, here's the next question. For production coordinators, what is a good way, when the world opens back up, of course, to start shadowing someone? I feel like this is what I want to be doing in the touring world, and I want to start making those network connections and getting on-the-job exposure and experience.
Ooh, can I jump in on this before we jump into it?
Yeah, please.
I just want to say that when you're shadowing somebody, it's a good time to make the connection with them, but be very careful and don't try to like network with everybody you meet there because you got to kind of be polite and appropriate. I don't know the thought process behind that, but it seems wrong to me to like go with somebody else to work and then start networking with the people that you meet there. You should just be like meeting them and experiencing everything that person allows you to. That should be your goal.
Unless someone kind of says, hey, they go and introduce you to everybody and it kind of make it their own choice, then it's completely fine.
Be presented. You can't just like be like, hey, I'm backstage now with this person. I'm going to go start. Hey, what's up? You're in the band. Nice to meet you. Here's what I do. Here's what I'm trying. Like, you got to kind of know your boundaries a little bit.
Right. And to be completely honest, like there's so much to learn when you're shadowing someone. You shouldn't have time to go meet other people. Like you need to be like taking advantage of that time because it's not going to be a lot. It's going to go by very quickly. If you go out to one show and you get from 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the evening till when the show's done at 11 o'clock, like it's not that much time and you should be taking advantage of that time anyways and really trying to talk to that person, ask them questions and really, get to know them. I think anyway. So
yes. So for people who are on the stream who don't know, or people who are listening to the podcast who don't know what production coordinators are, go listen to the episode. But it's basically the personal assistant or the band assistant or anybody who kind of takes care and helps around on tour. But if you want to shadow somebody, I was actually thinking, Neil, this is a really good way to learn what they do is to actually work for a venue as a runner. Yeah. That's a really, really good way to get experience in this line. And it's very close to what a production coordinator does. And it teaches you a lot of the same skills like attention to detail, timing, meticulousness, how to interact and work with people who are very demanding and very specific and very concise. And that's a lot easier to get than just being like, I want to work for an artist as a production coordinator. So start by working locally.
It's like, we've said this a bunch on the podcast too. It's like, just because you want to be a production coordinator doesn't mean you can't go in and get experience as a production coordinator doing other things, right? Like Adam was saying, runner, all these different things, like you're there, you get to see these things and you're in contact with these people. As long as you're being polite and courteous to them and their time, there's a ton to be learned without even directly shadowing that person. There's a lot of places you can go and work and just witness what's going on because that helps. Like even being like a local hand at a place, like you really get to see the inner workings of a show and you really understand how backstage works without even really doing any job. You do a really hard job. Local hands work very hard, but I'm just saying like any touring job, you get touring experience.
Agreed.
Okay, question 72. That's what Connor wrote here. It went from 6 to 72 and then 8. Okay, so
I'm throwing Connor on the bus. I did that. We're on the next question. I was just messing around with you to see if you'd do it.
I'm like Ron Burgundy and I read whatever's on the teleprompter. A whale's vagina. What? It's an Anchorman joke, Adam.
I know. I watched half that movie recently.
Why didn't you finish the movie?
Because you only get it for like 24 hours when you buy it, and then we just watched half of it and then fell asleep, and then
and then your just life kept going, and you're like, I'm over that part of my life, and then you just
I paid $6 for the South Park movie the other day because we bought it and then wanted to watch it again the rest of it the next day at the same time, and it expired. So I was like, I guess I'm paying sunk cost, but I'm paying for $3 again.
I just buy every movie that I think I'm going to like and never watch them more than once.
It's for my kids.
Dude, it sucks.
For my
I
daughter.
literally have like 300 movies I've watched maybe one time.
I believe that. Neil, imagine if you put all that into stocks.
Stop. Like I had like a meeting with a financial planner one time and he's like, why have you spent $8,400 on iTunes movies? I'm like,
you're like, I fly a lot. I need a visual entertainment, sir.
So I can watch them once and then forget that I own them and then go to buy them again, like on accident, probably.
Who gets your iTunes library? Not you specifically, but in general. When you die, who gets your iTunes library?
No one. It turns into dust and then flows into the digital wind.
That's wrong.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to have a garage sale for my digital assets pre-death.
It's like, here's 41 Dogecoin. That's what I would have.
Now that's worth 120. That's $10, 25 cents. Okay.
Anyways,
next question. It's from Leah Baker. You got it.
You got it.
You are asking it, or I'm asking it. You like to do it.
You're doing it.
Okay. I have a question that I'd like to propose to the group. Well, we're the group. How early in advance? Oh no, they wrote this on Discord and I pulled it. How early in advance should you reach out to a band tour manager that you want to help shadow when they come in town? For example, there's a band that is going on tour the fall that I'd like to reach out to and offer to help out when they come through town. Is it too early for me to reach out? And then follow-up question, how do you find out who the tour manager is for a given band? Like, I know the band is going to be on tour and I don't know the manager is, so I can't reach out to them. But I don't know who the manager is, so I can't reach out to them directly. What do you think, Neil? I got my answer, but I want to know what you think coming from band's perspective. Or
I'm not sure. I don't think it's ever too early to reach out, right? Like a person can either ignore your email, which means it's probably too early, or they can write you back and be like, hey, it's too early. Or they can write you back and be like, yeah, this date works and let's try and figure it out. Or I don't do that, whatever, I just say go for it as far as reaching out. But like to find out who the manager is, I don't fucking know.
All right, I can tell you, I got answers for this because I'm a photographer and I'm professional at harassing people.
Let's go.
All right, so the best time to reach out to somebody is it's okay to do a few weeks ahead of time. If you don't hear back, that's okay. What you want to do then is when it gets closer, follow up to them by responding to your own email and just say, hey, just checking in. You're here in a few days. If you can't make time for me to come and shadow you or something, I understand, but I'd love to get coffee in the morning if you have a moment. I know some good coffee shops, or if I could bring you anything that you want from the area. Basically, you just want to help that person have a really good day, even if they don't know you, and that's okay. People on tour, like, as long as you reach out in a professional manner and you write your email correctly and you don't throw off any bad vibes, they'll probably be open to receiving the help. You might have to introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm in school, or I've been looking to try to do this. But generally people in our industry, the good ones, want to help. With that being said, if somebody wants to be found, tour manager or manager online, they will be able to be found. If they don't want to be found, they will not be able to be found. So if you have a hard time finding somebody, it's probably on purpose. Managers probably won't be able to respond and help you with much of this stuff for larger artists. They'll just throw it to the side. They don't really, their job is like business decisions and helping out the band. It's not so much helping people shadow crew. You're probably going to have to find the crew specifically that works for the artist. So yeah, it takes some digging sometimes. But if you do find them and that's public information, shoot them a message. It can't hurt. Just be professional, straight to the point.
And also don't be afraid to be told no. Like, don't be afraid if they don't write you back. Like, those in this industry, that's not that uncommon.
Norm.
Yeah. And it's not that weird. I mean, like, a lot of people are doing business. They're working on stuff. Like, and if something doesn't apply to them in that moment, like, they just probably won't respond. So if it gets a little bit closer and they didn't respond, follow up, kind of like use your first email and be like, hey, I wrote you this, just following up. And if they don't do it again, then they probably don't want you to come and shadow them, which is also okay. Find somebody else, and that's okay. All of that is fine. And, and just try. I don't think it hurts to try.
I try to say goodbye.
What?
What was that?
What?
Hello?
He tries to say goodbye and you what?
Isn't it choke?
Oh, I thought you farted. Um,
Oh my
so
God. Nah, that's not a good story. All right, keep going.
okay. Um, what's that Netflix documentary where they're like, "Don't fuck with cats"?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was the correct title. Um,
I think.
you
And
know,
if you
like
guys,
they basically didn't they like figure out a murder in that documentary? Like, if
yeah,
you
I
need
think
to
that's
find
cool.
someone's tour manager, I think that on the internet it's definitely possible. Just saying.
Craig hit me up while we're doing this. Craig is the unseen member of Don't Shit on the Bus who helps us with sounding more smart in our written ways and some decision making. But he's like, Darren and Connor are like your live in studio audience. I was like,
They
yeah, that's
are.
kind
And like that's how I know if I'm like saying something that's like funny or not. Like I just see if like Connor and Darian are like, wow, he is not smart. And they like sometimes look at me like this.
excuse me.
And I'm like, I'll keep not saying what I was going to say. Okay. Anyways, okay. So the next question is from Darian. In regards to in-ear monitors, do backline techs get the same mix as the artist they're teching for? Who's responsible for mixing that?
Oh, wait, before we go into this one, I have to say something because Darren hit me up and it's an interesting question. I wanted you to cover it, Neil. We never explicitly said who wears in-ears other than the band and what's in them. And can you kind of walk us through like who hears what in their in-ears and how like the logistics of it and what they are?
These are in-ears right here. They're green. And then you can see through my entire head and see the couch behind it.
Yeah, they're like earplugs, then play music.
Yeah, it's basically just a way to protect your hearing. You know, there's a lot of really loud instruments, drums, guitar amps. The PA is super loud. And when you're in large venues or even when you're in small venues, like in-ear monitors can help save hearing. They really help with a lot of today's gear and technology to where you can do your own mixing. You don't have to rely on a mix engineer if you're not traveling with one. You can kind of set that stuff up beforehand and kind of get it all dialed in when you have in-ears. Like nothing changes because they're just really good headphones, essentially. The people that have in-ears are usually the core crew and the band or the artist themselves. So people on stage, right? Monitor tech, guitar tech, drum tech. Sometimes tour managers have them. Sometimes not really often. Adam doesn't have them. It's just for the people that really need to hear what is happening on stage to make sure that they can make the show go smoothly, whether it's through playback or to hear if their person they're working for has problems. They can be the first person to kind of interact and be like, oh, okay, I can hear the guitar went out. The guitar tech knows that because he's wearing in-ears. And so you really get what you need in your in-ear mix, and it's all different. And so the person that's on the side of stage is called the monitor engineer. We actually talked to Charlie Bybee, correct? Adam, he was the monitor engineer we talked to. Yeah, so Charlie Bybee, he's the person that mixes everybody's in-ears. So he sends a mix to everyone's pack. Sometimes the guitar tech's pack is the same as the guitar player they're working for, and the drum tech, same thing. The stage manager sometimes has them, and he'll have like the main mix of like what the singer usually has. And it's just so they can basically do their job more efficiently, and it's to save their hearing. And yeah, so it's really, that's the purpose of in-ears, and that's who has them, and that's who does the mixing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just reading.
They also sound really good. Like, you know, that's one of the cool things. And there's a lot of companies out there now, like Ultimate Ears or JH Audio, that you can get your own in-ears made, and they're not like crazy expensive. You go to get a mold done, either at an audiologist, I think is the correct word, or an ear doctor, ear, nose, and throat doctor, or something like that.
You can do them with lasers now too.
Yeah, you go get a mold done. You take that to one of the companies that makes in-ears. There's tons of them. And then they basically mold you really nice really nice headphones for your head. And it helps with blocking outside noise because they fit super snug and you don't hear other things that are happening around you. And so you don't have to keep your music very loud because everything's very quiet. And they kind of range in price, starting probably from like $200 to like $2,000. So you don't have to just be in a band to have in-ears. You can go get some made yourself if you would like. And they're actually really good if you do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I was going to make some. I have a cousin who is very sensitive to sounds. And often has to take breaks from rooms or things like that. And I was like, I think a good birthday gift for him would be some in-ears because he also loves music. And I'm like, he's still growing, so I know that there's like some you have to get remolded or something.
Yeah, it's like every 2 years, I think.
Yeah, but he's like in high school, so I don't know if it'll be more often. But I thought it'd be a cool gift, and he'd be like, "Whoa, I can hear the music all nice."
It really is kind of like if you love music, which I'm assuming a lot of people in here really do. It's a game changer. You hear things in music that you never heard before, depending on how good of in-ear monitors that you have. So
it's like the first time I wore sunglasses. I was like, this is what it's like to not be blinded all the time.
Oh shit, my eyes don't have to bleed all the time when I look directly into the sun. That's how I felt when I wore sunglasses. Anyway, so as you guys can see, Darian was completely thrown off by whatever was being said, and I know not to say that anymore. Okay. So here's the next question. It is from none other than Connor.
Also known as Captain Lasagna in chat.
Captain Lasagna. Okay. So the question is, what is a memory from tour that taught you a lot but you never wanted to relive? Adam.
I would say the things that I would always like to relive the experience, but sometimes the criteria of which they happened is less than desirable. So it usually revolves around a lack of sleep or something like that. I'm always thankful for the situations afterwards, but going through doing stuff without sleeping is just some of the hardest work you'll ever have to do. And I don't know. I've never actually said, no, we're not done on something on tour because it's so important. But my God, like going through like a 25-hour day or a 24-hour day after like sleeping for a few hours is just so difficult.
Oh, it's so difficult.
I know.
You get to like that place of delirious.
Dude, it's like
it's
you're
so,
drunk.
I think it's, I mean, not having to go and then work, obviously it makes my experience a little bit different. Like my work is like go play a show, which is really hard, but like it's not hard. Like go set up an entire stage and then work for 10 hours. And then after doing something like 24 hours of travel or some craziness like that. But I'm always like, those are my favorite moments on tour is like when I'm like totally just delirious and like having fun and just say like the weirdest shit and the most fun stuff happens. And
yeah, it's like sleepovers.
It's great.
Like when you're, when you sleepover when you're a kid and it's like late at night and you're just all kind of like goofing around. It reminds me of that when it's like you're almost like way up later than you usually are. So you just, I don't know, just that's how it feels. I was going to ask you on when negative things happen to you on the road. I don't know about you, but I do know about you. We've both toured for the majority of our adult lives, and I would say that touring is different from maybe working a 9 to 5 and just doing like watching a movie every night or doing like going for a run in the way that our days are quite dense with things that happen that are not consistent. So there's a lot of things that happen. It's quite overwhelming. I cannot remember everything if it weren't for my photographs. So with that being said, I have a difficult time remembering the good things. And on that same note, I honestly don't remember a lot of the bad things that happened unless I learned like a significant lesson from them. I just lose track of everything. It's incomprehensible to me, at least. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah. I can't comprehend it to a level because it's just so many things happen. And I grow from them. I learn from them, but I just don't retain them. So when people are like, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. I legitimately just don't know.
It's also kind of like, it's kind of speaking to what you just said anyways, in my mind is like, I think it's going to help me moving forward thinking about this because it's like, what's the worst thing that's happened to you? And you're like, I don't know. It's like, obviously it's not that bad, and it's a lot of the things that seem really big in the moment, really like they're not life ending. They're not earth shattering. They're not like these things that you're like, oh, I never want to do that again or whatever, it's like,
yeah,
for me at least,
well, I think sorry.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like a memory that taught me something, but I never want to relive. Don't eat gas station food in Germany in the middle of the night. I'm not even being funny. Like I literally was like fucked up for like 3 days, and I had to like play a show where I sat on a bucket, in Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, you were playing out on the street.
What?
Street performer. Street performers sit on buckets.
Oh man, I was playing my guitar sitting back. We had like scrims, and I was like sitting on it, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna poop.
I don't know if I
myself.
was there.
It was
See,
awful.
like, I don't remember Neil doing that. If I was
so
there.
bad.
I was gonna say the memories that I actually think are the scariest of touring are when you're on the bus and you're up at night and you see the conditions the driver's driving in, and you're like, these are scary. Remember that time we were like driving through Montana or something, and it was snowy, like haily, and we're in the bus and everybody was we're just scared, but you just have to keep driving. And I was like, I'm just going to bed. This is just too much to comprehend. Like, I just need to go to bed. And that kind of stuff is really scary. And it's like, you don't get the option to say, no, I don't want to be in this scenario. You can't get off the bus. You got to stay on the bus. You know, it's like, what? You're going to get off and just stay at a hotel? I don't know. I guess you could.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times the things that I've realized, like on tour especially, like you're not in control. You got to like relinquish that control factor a little bit and kind of just go with the flow of things and just live, you know, especially in those moments when it's like really scary. You're like on a bus and you kind of just got to live. Like you know, and you just got to deal with it and keep going. That's what touring is. You know, you're not the center of attention, and the universe doesn't revolve around you. You're a big crew, a big family, and everyone's working together to make sure everybody else has the easiest time possible. But sometimes that doesn't always happen because of certain people being different and whatever. But you always are looking out for each other, I feel like, and that's kind of like what we do at least. So, the next question is from Melissa again.
Eminem song stuck in my head.
Which one?
Center of attention, back for the winner. I'm investing, or I'm vesting. The best thing, the resting, vesting in your kids' ears and nesting. Testing, attention, please. Here's my 10 cents. Something like that.
Can you keep
going? I don't know the
please?
actual lyrics. I just know the lyrics I know in my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. I don't even know what song that is. Okay. This is the last question from our Patreon. Thank you guys so much for participating in this. It's really awesome. I like doing it. I hope you guys had a great time asking questions for the Patreon. And then we have some questions from chat, but this is the last one from our Patreon. The question is, what individuals other than musicians use in-ears? This is another in-ear question. So hopefully we can cover this one. Is it worth investing in a pair as we get closer to the world opening back up? And what brands and styles are the best for those not on stage? Yeah, so we kind of already went into all of this. You know, JH Audio, Ultimate Ears. There's a company called CTM, I think. There's a ton of companies that you can look up online. When you go to their website or interact with them through like social media, they can direct you where to get your ears molded. They will also help you pick which model is best for you based on your budget and based on your job, based on how you're using them. So reach out to those companies and they can get you sorted out in that area.
Do you want to knock out a few of these questions from the Twitch chat?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool.
So if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them in Twitch. There's a couple questions that we have here, and if we have some time, we will get to those that are asked now. All right, so here's the newest question. It's question 13. It's from Zach9255. Thank you, Zach. It says, I have a question. What about shadowing a guitar tech? I have a record degree. I work in live sound, but my dream is to be a guitar tech. I think it works out the same way, you know, reach out to different people that work for different, like, you know, so for instance, my guitar tech, his name is Max. I'm sure if there is a tour coming up and he has time, if you reach out to him, he will be more than happy to let you shadow him at your local show. Especially if you're serious, you know, if you kind of have, a passion in it and you have done some work before, and this isn't a way to kind of go out and get into a show for free. It's like you have to be doing this for a job, and it has to be very evident that that is the case. And so I think that you just reach out to them.
Yeah, if you can qualify yourself or help the person you're reaching out to understand that you're serious about this and you're somebody that can be trusted. You know, I think the Twitch thing got messed up. There it is. There's somebody who can be trusted. That's important. If you can't find a local, or if you can't find a touring artist to shadow, start local. Find a local band, somebody who maybe you just offer to help out a local band. Also work at a local guitar shop, something like that. just anything to get your hands out there, start working, and start learning the things you just don't even know you need to learn.
Yes, exactly.
All right. This is from Jackie of All Trades. Do tour managers supply all their office equipment, like printers and such?
I think that they buy it, but I think that whatever artist they're working for pays for it.
Yeah, or they'll like bring it if they have. A lot of times they'll have like a setup and they'll just bring it with them.
Yeah,
So,
like everyone that we've toured with has like a road case with a printer in it or a laminator. If they do need office supplies like pens, paper for their printer, like stuff for laminating things, like definitely they will go purchase those things and then they'll, send the bill to the band or whatever artist they're working for. I think.
no, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
There's definitely a certain level of gear you're required to have to do a job, and then a certain level of gear that like is a consumable. Like, to make an example for another job, the monitor engineer is expected to maybe have, I don't know, maybe a microphone, or I'm trying to think of an example that might be a bad example. Like the guitar tech is expected to have the tools that they can use to fix guitar strings, but they're not expected to buy the batteries with their own money every day that go in the in-ear pack, right? The band pays for those things.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go out of pocket to like pay for consumables, but it's like the same way the band doesn't buy me my lenses, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay, so this is another question from Jack of All Trades and do runners work for the venue or the artist? I've seen it go both ways. No, it's mainly the venue. Sorry, it's the promoter.
The venue.
It's the promoter. The promoter or the promotion company usually hires the runner, and that comes out of a negotiated rate through the promoter or the venue. I think that if you are hired, it could go either way. Like I think that the venue could also provide runners as well.
Yeah, the venue hires the runners, but throughout the day they generally work for the artist. That's what they're there to do. Right. So the person who pays them is, the venue. That's who they work for, I guess, even though the money might indirectly.
Well, I think it's like the promoter or whatever it is. Like whoever is promoting the show at a venue, they are the ones that are negotiating the rate. They're the ones that are hiring all the people that work at the show on a local level. They rent the venue. They do all those things beforehand. So I'm assuming it's a promotion company or a promoter themselves that hires the runner.
Yeah. Oh, you're good.
Crommy Milk. This is one of my favorite names on Twitch.
We have your question, just so you know. It's just coming up yet.
This question is there a part of the crew that controls live effects on vocals or instruments? Yes. Depending on where or who it is, like if it's a guitar, the effect is usually triggered by the guitarist themselves and or is triggered by a MIDI controller, which sends information out to the guitar player's rig to trigger effects like that. But if it's through on vocals, it is from the front of house. So it is the front of house engineer. So it's the sound guy or front of house engineer or the front of house guy. Or what did Nate say that is the best thing to call them? It was all of above, right?
I don't know.
I think it was all of the above. But
check the website.
All the effects for live vocals and stuff like that are handled by the front of house guy, or girl, or lady, or person, whatever. Technician. Yeah, front of house tech. Yeah.
All
whatever.
right. Next question is from Dennis GGW. Question for you guys.
Heads up, Dennis fucking made some amazing designs.
All right. Well, this is a graphic design question.
Yes, Dennis is an amazing graphics designer. So if you need that, hit up Dennis.
As a graphics designer, are there any jobs in the touring world that could use the service, or would you say it's something more behind the curtain? I don't know. Do you ever take graphic designers on the road? It's not really a day-to-day thing, is it?
No, we don't take graphic designers on the road. I would say as a graphic designer, you might have more luck reaching out to a promotion company or a promoter. There's always need for posters, flyers being designed. We've even at certain venues, they hire artists to make a show poster for all of the sold out shows. So I think kind of like reaching out to those things and kind of sending your portfolio or your work might be your best bet as far as getting work in the touring field. And I don't really think it involves going on tour. I do think it's kind of more behind the curtain, but you can kind of get work through a promotion company. You can get work reaching out to a management company, working with different artists. Yeah, I've never seen or had someone use their graphic design skills while on the road, other than making things for fun. Like we made a missing flyer for Alex Shellnut one time and put him up all around the venue. But that was just for fun, and it wasn't serious. He wasn't missing. He was found.
You can't be lost if you're never found.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, a few more questions here. We're not going to accept anymore, so we can finish this at a time. You know, Neil's a father, and I'm a human, so we've got to end this.
I have a baby. Okay.
All right. Looks like this one is for me. This is from our good friend Ralph. Do you remember Ralph, Neil?
I do. Ralph is an amazing photographer that actually allowed us to see the set of Saturday Night Live. It was pretty fucking awesome.
That was cool. Thanks,
Ralph is a fucking goat.
He works with my cousin. It's kind of cool. Small world.
Yeah, it is.
All right. You want to read it because it's for me, or you want me to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it to you.
All right, cool.
It says, Adam, not sure if you've covered this in the past episodes, but as a photographer, how should you go about payment? While on tour, is it per week, per show? If an artist wants to put you on payroll, how do you go about knowing how much to charge? Is it based on popularity, if the art or popularity of the artist, or is it about knowing your own worth?
I think it's everything, right? Yeah, we do have a whole episode about getting paid and how much to charge. And if you just want the numbers, you can go to the website. There's a blog about it. It's called, I forget what it's, How to Get Hired and Paid to Tour. But yeah, it's usually, if it's a few day gig, it's probably daily. If it's a few week gig, it's probably weekly. The logistics of it are, it's usually direct deposit. And you have how pay works is you have a day rate or a week rate, and then you also get PDs and buyouts. And that's so before you go on a tour, you just ask those three things. And yeah, depending on the size of the artist, you're probably going to get paid more generally the larger they are. Of course, there's some exceptions. Some artists know how large they are, and they know that just having the job is sometimes more valuable than how much. There's a lot of factors that go into that, especially in this world. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. If you ever need help with it, hit me up. I've helped a lot of people know what to ask before they go on tour, because it's definitely where most people get taken advantage of. But it's okay. If you mess up the first time, there's always the next tour, and you can always renegotiate. You're not like stuck in this spot. It's business, where some people are just good at what they do, not good at business and doing everything else. Self-employed life.
It's tough. There's not like a fucking thing to kind of tell what that's like, other than, I think our podcast is like one of the first places to kind of talk people through how to get paid doing what they do on tour, and at least that I know of. So okay, so the next question, it says, Neil, I've met you a few times in Pittsburgh. I have so many questions, but anyway, for now, my question is, what is the real deal with this vegan restaurant you guys are doing? And do you need any help with things in that area at all? I've been really thinking about making some kind of vegan food truck for Warped Tour types of shows or something. Any thoughts? So the deal is, my wife and I opened a vegan fast casual restaurant called Winter Park Biscuit Company, where everything is plant-based. It's in Winter Park, Florida. My wife is the chef. She made the entire menu with the help of our amazing staff. We actually just found out today that the USA Today said that we are one of the 10 best restaurants in Orlando, Florida, which is fucking huge for us.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I just want to take this moment to say we couldn't do this without our amazing team and our amazing staff. We don't currently need any help at the moment. But if you want to send your resume, you can check out our Instagram, which is Winter Park Biscuit Company, or Winter Park Biscuit Co. on Instagram, and there's a link there to send a resume, or there's a post, I think it's a couple posts back, talking about sending a resume in. So you can do that. Starting a vegan food truck is awesome. There is tons of, I think once shows come back, there will be tons of need for vegan food, regular food, anything like that outside of shows or anything like that, as long as you get the proper permission from your local jurisdiction and things like that. I don't think you should go out of there and just do it without going through the proper methods of kind of being allowed to be there and being permitted and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, it's fucking amazing, and I could not be happier with how everything is going at the Biscuit Company. And thank you to everyone in stream that has kind of made their way out there and tried it. It really means a lot to kind of be able to be there, or if I've gotten to meet you there or take a picture with you there, I'm there all the time. So yeah, that's the deal with that. All right, so this is a question for Adam, and it says, as a photographer, mostly on small van tours, I do more than just photos, including merch, driving, and some tour managing. At what point should I drop the extra jobs I do on tour and just market myself as a photographer? Should you just grow out of those as the tours start to grow in size? This is from Jeremy.
What's up, Jeremy? We miss you on the Patreon, but I understand life happens, but we're always there to welcome you when you come back. With that being said, yeah, I think, oh, he's back. He's in the Discord now. Welcome back.
Yes. Jeremy.
Welcome back. Jeremy's been a long time fan and subscriber, so we really appreciate the support, man. I know you're one of the first guys. You were on hanging out when I was on Twitch, but let's just see here. So it might not be something that you have to like. I would say you can advertise as just a photographer if that's all you want to be hired for. You don't have to say you do all these other things. There's a lot of people who tour and do photography and do other jobs, but you would never know it from the outside looking in. But from the back end, it's pretty helpful to have multiple skills that you're good at. Like, it makes you able to go on all these different kinds of tours. If somebody doesn't need a photographer, maybe they're not to that point in their career yet, they just need a tour manager, then you can do that. And you can go out and do the photography on the side. So yeah, there's definitely a place where you need to start taking strides to just doing that if that's your goal. But as long as it's not hurting you, I would advise to become as multifaceted as you can, because it just works in your favor, especially on the smaller tours. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's my take on it. But I think it'll make sense when you should just do photography. It's when you can't do all those jobs in one day, you'll know, because you won't be able to do all those jobs in one day.
Like, physically, you won't have the time.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh shit.
And it won't be one of those situations where it's like, should I be not doing this or that? It's like, I physically can't do that. I don't have time to do that. I need to make sure that my pictures are like 100, like you need to make sure that that shit is the best that it can be. And if you're able to do tour managing, merch, and all that stuff, you're not taking enough pictures. I don't think. I think you should be taking more pictures. Pictures of everything.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, so that is the last question for the night. I wanted to thank everyone who came out and listened to us talk about all these amazing things that touring has kind of taught us and where we want to go from here. Like I think, I don't know if we fully talked about that a lot, but that's something that I'm really excited as kind of touring comes back. All the new people that will be going out on tour as crew, all the new artists that have popped up during this pandemic. I'm just excited. I'm excited to do that shit again. I'm excited to have that part of my life back. I know Adam is too,
Yeah, I don't know when and if I'll start again, but I'm happy to have this podcast to do, and just want to say thanks for all the questions, all the people who support us on Patreon, all the people who support us just by listening. We appreciate you, and thanks so much for being with us for the first 23 episodes. Neil, our next episode is a pretty exciting episode for us. It's our first time having an artist guest on the show, with the exception of Tanner. He was on as a drum tech, but he's an artist. But we've got an artist and the guitar tech and his bass tech on. You want to tell him about it? Because it's the next
Mark
episode.
Hoppus.
All right, there we go. And Robert.
Oh, Robert. You were saying the artist, but yeah, it's Robert. He's the stage right tech for Mark Hoppus, and Robert is fucking amazing. We didn't really get to talk about this in the podcast that we recorded with Robert and Mark, but Robert has a brand new coffee company. It's called Stage Right Coffee. It's fucking amazing. Go check that out. He just sent us some coffee, and I've been drinking it all week this week, and it's literally some of the best coffee I've ever had in my life. So if you're a coffee connoisseur, check that shit out. You're supporting good stuff. You're supporting crew members that aren't able to tour. So he's doing these other hobbies that he has started during the pandemic. He's always been interested in coffee, but he's really decided to start his own business, which is amazing, and he's
Yeah,
doing a
that is
great job. So yeah, what is it? This next week?
Yeah. Well, this week will be this episode, and then in 1 week that episode will be out. It'll be out on YouTube, it'll be out on Spotify, be out on everywhere. So check it out. And
follow along if you're not yet.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Q&A episode. We will catch you next week.
Is there any other questions that you and Darian and Connor? Do you guys have any questions?
I'm bringing them in. I just wanted to say.
Do you want to talk and do you want to let the world hear your voice? I think you should.
I just want to thank everyone for being here and supporting the podcast. We really can't do it without our rad community. Thank you, Adam and Neil, for giving so much insight to every one of us. I can only speak for myself, but it means the world to me, and just to gain all that knowledge from y'all. So can't thank you guys enough. And everyone, please get ready for the Mark and Robert episode. It's going to blow your mind, I promise you.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Hi, Darian.
Hi, Adam.
Yeah, thank you again for all that you, Connor and Darian, do for the podcast. I have learned a lot from you guys just being in the group text with you. You're hilarious. You're some of the funniest people that I know.
My girlfriend just stood up and hit her head on the ceiling so hard she fell on the floor.
Is she
Are you
okay?
What that noise was?
Yeah.
Is she alive?
Is she okay?
The ceiling's like crooked here, like
Oh,
slanted,
no.
like because I'm in like an office. Are you okay, honey?
All right.
All right.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and raid. So, thank you guys for coming and being a part of this question and answer thing. If you don't follow the podcast, go do that right now. Join our Patreon. Then you can be a part of the Discord. Then you can interact with us on a daily basis.